He's the one who took them out of Egypt, and that he was along with them all that time. So I didn't know in the wilderness when he took them out of Egypt into the wild. He was there with them, so he knows them. And the land of great drought.
A desert is a land with drought.
Yeah, in the desert. So
A desert is not a land with drought.
it's not
No, a desert is a desert.
okay.
A land with drought is a land where water used to be, but no longer is for a certain period. A desert just never had rain.
Okay.
There's a difference. So let's look at the words.
I didn't know thee in the
I
wilderness.
did know you.
I did know. We need to look at what the no means because no has been used in different ways in the Bible. So, what is the Hebrew for that no, Jackie?
Yada, which is to acknowledge, acquainted.
So, I acknowledged you while you were in the wilderness because he did say, I chose you when you were coming out of Egypt. So, I'm now acknowledging you while you were traveling for the 40 years.
We were friends.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
traveling companions. We traveled together.
Together.
I knew you and you knew me.
I took care of you.
Eh?
And it was not uncertain. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 7 says, For the Lord thy God hath blessed thee in all the works in thy hand. He knoweth thy walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord thy God had been with thee, thou hast lacked nothing.
And that's
So,
chapter 2, verse 7.
yeah, Deuteronomy. Refers another one too. Still in Deuteronomy, which is 32:10. And Deuteronomy is still chapter 32, verse 10. He found him in the desert land, and the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eyes. So, yes, when they were in the wilderness, they learned each other very good. And it seems like a good relationship.
It's more than that. Deuteronomy said that Deuteronomy 8, verse 15, go a little bit more detail about the kind of relationship. Who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint. So he more than acknowledged them, he took them, he guided them, he protected them, he provided for them.
But there's more to it than just that. See, we're looking at it from one side of the equation. You see, you are seeing it and saying, God did this, God did that, God did that. Fine. But there were two parties in this relationship.
Mhm.
There was God and there was Israel. So God provided all of this for them. What was their response in this?
What were they expected to do, or what did they do?
They depended on God for these things.
Mm-hmm.
They depended on Him for water, for food, for shelter,
Protection.
all of these protections. They depended on Him. They could depend on Him.
Mhm.
They did depend on Him. They were in lockstep traveling with Him. There was a bi-directional relationship. The provider, the parent, and the child. The child following the instructions as given by the parent. This is what is being intonated here. There was a relationship I provided and you acknowledged.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is what it is saying. I knew you and you knew me.
Yeah.
At that time, we were a family.
Yeah. We were a family traveling together.
But not just that. If you look at what it is saying, this was when you were in the wilderness, when times were hard, when you had no other choice but me. You relied on me. You knew only me. I was the only one there to provide for you. During your hard time, during the wilderness experience, I was the one there. I was the one that provided all this, and you knew it. This is the whole conversation. You knew it. Okay. So this is not just saying God saying, "Oh, I did all this." He's saying, "And you were participating in this, and you knew me." So let's go.
In the land of great drought, so we know that was in the wild. So
Okay. There are two different places here,
The wilderness and the parched land.
and the wilderness and the desert. A wilderness is an uninhabited space, not
And
necessarily.
I remember that from St. Matthew.
Not necessarily a desert.
Yeah, could have thistles and plants, and no, it just people don't live there.
Right. It can be an arid land that you have rain every now and then. It has plants on it, but not plants that you couldn't cultivate. It could be rocky.
Yeah.
It could be it may have plants on it, but nobody lives there.
It could have serpents and beasts of prey and scorpions and all sort of stuff.
Yes, but it can be a very nice place as well, but nobody lives there.
No humans live there.
It's uninhabited. It's the wilderness, wilderness. It's wild, untamed, uncared for, wild. So this is where the words come from, the wilderness. It's wild. Nobody lives there. Nobody tends to it. It's just a place that is there, but nobody is living actively, farming or anything in it. And people are passing through it. The Jews were passing through the land. They weren't settled there. Okay, if they had settled there, it would now not be an inhabited space.
Yeah.
For example, Egypt had desert places that people lived in. It wasn't a wilderness. It was a desert, but it wasn't a wilderness because people lived there, right? So this is the difference. So here we see two spaces. I was with you in those areas that were wilderness areas, and I was with you in areas where it was a desert, and I provided for you equally when it was hard and was not so hard. You get it?
Yeah, and I'm looking at Exodus, and they did go into a wilderness of sin. That's what it was called, the wilderness of sin. Exodus 16, which is between Elim and Sinai. Definitely went through not just the desert, but the wilderness.
Okay, can I move on?
Yep. Verse 6, according to their pasture, so were they filled. They were filled, and their heart was exalted. Therefore have they forgotten me. Okay.
Contentment, no.
The Hebrew. When they had pasture, that is the Israelites, and they were filled and was exalted, and their hearts were exalted. Thus upon they forgot me. What does this mean? When they had pasture and
when you put 7 with it, when you put 5 with it, you're showing the contrast. When they're in the wilderness and in hard times, they walked with him. Know that they are contented.
Not just that, it's a walk.
Yeah, they're no longer.
When you were in the wilderness, when you were in the desert, you knew me, you acknowledged me. I provided for you, you kept my laws, my precepts, my guidance. But when I settled you in the land, this is where the pasture is, When they had pasture, that is, when they came into pasture, green fields,
green lands.
All right. When I took you into the land, and it was a place that was given to you for rest, okay? You came into rest out of the wanderings. At that point, you were being filled.
Yep.
And then you were exalting yourself, right? So look at.
Then there's this, you call it a semicolon? No.
Yeah.
Here is what Deuteronomy 31 verse 20 said. For when I shall have brought them into the land where I swore to their fathers, that flowed with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxen fat, then will they turn to other gods and serve them and provoke me and break my covenant.
Yeah. It says they were filled twice. According to their pasture, they were filled. They were filled, and their heart was exalted.
Yeah, them boastful now.
But
They were happy.
but listen, it didn't say this as a negative here. We get the feeling it's negative because we know the story. Their hearts were lifted up.
Yeah.
They
No more worries.
were proud.
Hmm
They became
They now
proud.
have plenty.
Yes, and they became proud.
Hmm
And having become fat and
And
proud,
proud. They
they
forgot
have
God.
completely forgot about me. When things are now good, we discard the Lord.
You remember in Isaiah 2 where he says that they forgot that he was the one who
Who
gave
they
them
married.
corn and wine and oil. They were getting it all, but they did not acknowledge him. And he was the one who still took care of them.
They esteemed them not.
They took it for
Mhm.
granted.
So
It's not even
let
taken
us
for granted. They didn't even give him the props to say that he was the provider.
what did Isaiah say would happen to Christ? The same thing.
Hmm
Isaiah said they esteemed him not.
Not.
No matter what he did. Jesus came, he raised the dead, healed the sick, fed the multitudes, he calmed the storms, he ran the demons out of town, he did all of this. And yet, the same people said, crucify him. 5 days later, the same people who said, Hosanna, okay, 5 days later, shouted, crucify him. Fickle. When things are good, when God has done good to these people, at all times they turn around and they spit in it. Literally, in Jesus' case, spat in his face. And yet we believe that vengeance is not mine, saith the Lord. There
Jackie.
is coming recompense.
hmm I
Go ahead.
marvel how God just warned people and they still don't listen. In Deuteronomy 8, verses 11 to 16, God was telling them, beware of forgetting God in prosperity. Plenty will dull your memory. And as they grow proud and credit themselves with what they have achieved, they will forget God who led them, fed them, took care of them. And he's saying, beware of it. And here he's now saying, I told you not to do it. And yet you're doing it. I told you not to. And that's exactly what you did.
Psalm 62:10. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches set not, if riches increase, set not your heart upon them. You see, this is exactly what has happened to America.
Mm-hmm.
And America has started to invent new doctrine to justify their forgetting of the basics that God has instructed. It is written over and over and over again. And the church has been maligning the gospel. It has been cutting pieces out of it, stitching pieces together that have no business being stitched together, and creating a doctrine.
Yeah. And you remember when I won't even look at the outside, I'm looking at the churches. As the pastors themselves get rich, they
It's all about
themselves
money.
start
It's
make them own thing.
Yeah, the bank is one person who has several jet planes
What
flying
am I doing
around,
that?
telling people that he can't fly commercial because when he's doing God's business, he doesn't.
What happened? Hello? What happened?
1 second. Should go back.
All right. I really want to read Deuteronomy 8, starting from 11. And I'm going to stop at 40 because 15 and 16 just talked about what God did, which is actually verse 5 of Hosea. But I think this is verse 6 of Hosea. This is God's warning. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwell therein, that is the pasture, right? And when your herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then your heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Isn't this God? Isn't this where God warning them? And now God is saying, I warned you, but now you did it.
Yeah, exact words.
The exact words. They were filled. And even in Isaiah, earlier in Isaiah, I realized that earlier in Isaiah, God said it like two. If I can find Isaiah 2, I think, or Isaiah 4. Let me check. I want to make
Fairly
sure I don't.
consistent.
Hmm?
It's fairly consistent what the Lord has been saying through the various books that are there. Very
Yeah,
consistent.
very
This is
consistent. And the verbiage are almost identical.
the same person speaking.
Exactly. The verbiage is
Okay.
so identical.
I remember what I said to you 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, and when I'm reminding you, I am most likely going to use the same verbiage so that it brings you back to the remembrance of what I had said. This is why the words are exact, because
Yeah.
if I say to you, take the stairs and go to the third floor, okay? You come back to me and you have not done. And I say it again. I'm saying the same word. Take the stairs
Take
and go
stairs
to
and
the
go.
third floor. Because I want you to recall what I had said before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why the same words are being used. It is to trigger your memory that this is what I had said to you before. And I'm saying it to you again. Do not forget it. And
Yep.
don't say you never heard it before, because I've said it to you now twice, or 3 times, or 4 times. God has been very consistent in his language to these people. And this is why when we read in the Bible, we must be very conscious of the words.
Isaiah,
So, go
Isaiah
ahead.
4 verse 7 says it again. Here's it. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. And that is taking us into 7 of verse chapter 30. They increased, they had their fill, and they did their
Yep.
own thing.
So comes recompense.
Yep. So I will now comes verse 7.
Therefore, I will be unto them, Israel, as a lion,
Mm-hmm.
as a leopard. By the way, will I observe them? Let's get that one before we go to it. Remember God says, I will speak to them in similitudes.
Mm-hmm.
So let us look at what this actually is trying to convey. I will be unto them as a lion. Remember before he said that they were going to be attacked like a lion and like a young lion. Remember all of that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same thing being used. God is consistent. He's saying over and over again, I am going to be attacking you in the same merciless way that a lion would do it. When I attack you, it is going to be with murder in my heart. It is a death coming. It is not going to be something that you can protect yourself against. It is going to be with power, vicious. You are going to be overwhelmed.
Well,
Yeah. Chapter
Lamentation
5.
Sarah, so I'm going to say something.
Yes, Sarah.
Lamentation 3 verse 10 says, He was unto me as bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. That sounds like a predator.
It is.
that is waiting, hiding for the coup, at the appointed time.
All right. But there are other things in there, but keep going.
Yes, Janet, go ahead.
I'm going to read. I'm going to my favorite book. From the looks of it, is really my favorite book. But I'm going back to Hosea chapter 5, because I remember Jackie said that um, God had already used the similitude of the 5 verse 14 says, For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, and as a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I will tear and go away. I will take away, and none shall rescue him. That is Hosea. Amos now, my book. Amos 3 verse 12 says, Thus saith the Lord, as the shepherd taketh out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs and a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out that dwell in Samaria, in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch.
Yeah.
No, yeah, what it's there's a lot of passage, even Jeremiah 5, verse 6. Wherefore a lion out of the forest shall slay them, and a wolf of the evening shall spoil them. A leopard shall watch over their cities. Everyone that goeth out then shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backslidings are increased.
Yeah, that's Jeremiah.
To be honest with you, what I see here is Daniel.
Mm.
How?
I see here is Daniel. The leopard and the bear. The leopard was described in Daniel, and it referred to the arrival of the Greeks,
Yeah.
Alexander. And the bear referred to the Persian,
Okay.
right? These are the beasts that were described by Daniel, okay, as those countries, those nations which will overtake Israel, that will persecute Israel and subjugate them. So here we are seeing God is using the same imagery over and over again. He could have used other animals. There were hyenas, there were
Hold on.
jackals.
Jackie, I think
Yeah.
we probably should have looked at 7 and 8 together, because the bear is in verse
That's what
8.
I'm saying. But
The
that's what
bear
I'm
is in
saying.
chapter is in verse 8. So it's
I
the
know, and
lion, the
that's what
leopard, and the bear.
I know, and this is why I brought it up. So these are all in Daniel.
In Jeremiah, we're talking about wolf too. So
There are very very consistent threads. But we'll get to Daniel at some point. Maybe we should do Daniel after this. Let's go.
Hey, we were asking the Lord, what's the next book?
Well, they're getting a point, I think.